Angel's Breath, I think everything has gone well. I know he got beaten at Kempton, but that actually didn't worry me. I thought more of him the next morning than I did the morning before. I was very pleased with it, and his work's been great since. So, no, that's all systems go. Great form. Mr. Fisher was good at Haydock, and he's been very good. He's been working very well. I never really needed another run with him. He'd already got the experience, and now he's in good shape. I like them both. I mean, I do think Angel's Breath might be, there's a lot of, not conflict here, but in that Di Walters owns Aldanza and the largest percentage of Angel's Breath. But he's been very good. He's never said to me, go on, move that out into the Ballymore and split them up. I said, I think you've got to put two bullets in the barrel and have two shots at it. It's better than one. Weatherbear's very good. I mean, I have to say he got into a great rhythm, and he does like to dictate. And that was easier that day. There wasn't a big field, and that's actually why we didn't even put him in the Grand National, because I don't think it's a race that would suit him. Although all he does on the racecourse says, I jump and I gallop and I do it quite well. You'd think he was a national horse, but I don't think I think the place would undo him. Trouble is the Ultimate. There's going to be a lot of runners, but if he can find himself a nice sort of pocket where he can travel through the race, he's in good shape. 007, very pleased with him. We're actually going to put some blinkers on him for the race, and I actually do think they're going to help him. Cheap Pieces did, and he's in good form, and he scored very well in the middle of the day. I think they'll help. Gold Present, I'm not sure actually. He'll probably come into the 2.5. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he got beaten at Kempton on Boxing Day by our own horse, Badana Blue, who will run again. Badana Blue, I'd just say there that, I mean, if the ground stays, it will be good to soft. We know that. If he gets much softer than that, Badana Blue might well not run. Biverdale will love it if he gets any softer, but at least we know it won't get quick, which would not suit Biverdale. He's been in good form. He followed up very nicely at Sandown. The second horse came out and run the National Spirit the other day. Barry rode him on Saturday, was absolutely delighted with him. He feels he's in right shape at the right time. It's a better race this year probably than last chase. I mean, there's no doubt the dangers are the two Irish fillies, Lorena and Apple's Jade. And yeah, I mean, I think Brainpower wouldn't be far away from being the best of the rest in England. But so, £7 is plenty to give away. They'll be tough to beat. Apple Shakira, she's had obviously nothing seriously wrong, just a dirty track wash and this and that, and sort of finding races for her has been difficult. You know what it's like for these 4-year-olds in their sort of second season, well, she's 5 now, but no, she's good. She's worked. She's lazy at home. She doesn't show you a lot, but apparently Apple's Jade doesn't either. So let's hope she's got her sister's genes all down the line.
It's always tricky for horses to get into the Close Brothers. How happy are you with the mark for Lofto Spirit?
Well, I mean, you've got to between 140 and 145. Otherwise, so the whole season is geared to just sort of, tipping. And I got one too high. Unfortunately, one just got too high. And that's the penalty you pay. You've got to try and win to get in, and then you win too well, you go out the top again. So it's easy to actually go through without stopping, if you know what I mean. He's in good shape, actually, and as I say, you just got to get them off the right weight. So it'll be a £5 weight range. So it's not who's well handicapped, it's just who gets in.
You came close to winning it last year with Rather Be. Do you feel this horse is in a similar sort of category as him, or perhaps better?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's far away. He'd like some decent ground. I think he's in good form. But you're never not confident about anything. I think if it was 4 miles on the flat, let alone 4 miles of events, his jumping has been good. He was very good at Warwick. He just gave you the fear at Warwick there, and even I think you saw him work this morning. I mean, he doesn't sort of scream 4 miles at you. He did earlier on in life. He looked all over a 4-miler, but he's just so sharp and well at the moment that you say, does he need it? He'll get it, but you could easily bring him into the RSA. But we're going 4 miles. Derek O'Connor came and rode him at Warwick, and he put up an excellent show. So we're looking forward to that. Champ is a champ, I don't know. We'll only find out on Wednesday. He's done nothing wrong. We actually sort of started his season in May last year, and it was good because he got some good experience, had a break, then came back. He was very impressive at Newbury the first time, then came out and won the Cheltenham there, which was Grade 1, and I was going to give him another run, but there didn't seem to be a lot of need for it. He's fitting well, and I think this is it's difficult. I was Birchdale and he and a couple of others of JP's. You know, it was a which way to go. But we're going to Ballymore with Champ anyway, and 2.5. He's bags of tow. I mean, you saw the first day at Newbury. He actually carted. It was Aidan Coleman rode him, and he just took off halfway down the back straight. And I thought it was far too soon, but you know, he was very good. He's not slow. Santini has done nothing wrong in his 2 races. He got beaten at Kempton, but I think like a lot of people, you probably thought of Kempton that you'd take the second and third with the 2 you'd take out of the race. He was very good. He won well at Newbury the first time. It's always been the objective, and I would love to have run him in the Reynolds Stand, but he got caught up in flu, and well, he didn't have flu, but vaccinations anyway, and he had to miss the Reynolds Stand, which was very, very frustrating, to be honest with you. That would concern me a bit, but hopefully we've made up for it in other ways, and he's ready to go. Yeah, he took a bit of time to warm up the first time out at Cheltenham, and even that a little bit again at Kempton. The further he went, the further he got into a rhythm, and he rolled away. He went to Newbury the other day and jumped some fences. Again, he was a bit cold to start with. You'd like to have a choke button on him a little bit, but he was very good in the end, and he is a good horse. He was a good novice. Again, I would love the extra run. I say we've had to do it a different way, like it did with Santini. But he's good. We might just pop some cheek pieces on him, just to help him early in the race. But no, I think he's not a second string. He's got a good chance. You have to say he's probably he's probably got the best chance of anybody. But he's still got to do it. He's been very good every time so far. We think he's in very good shape. Nico says he feels great. He's schooled. He's worked. He's done everything, to be honest with you. We've had a slightly different strategy this year to last year. We had 3 runs and then sort of just gave him a little break after the Clarence House. We'd never had an intention of running him again, so to be fair, he hasn't really been messed up. No, it's touch wood, it's all gone well. We've just got to pray for everything to go right for another week.
Vita de Rock, you're a bit of a change in tack with this one and going for the cross country.
We took him there yesterday, yeah. It was entertaining. And actually, he was good. It was an idea. I mean, he's in the Kim Muir, but we thought we'd have a look at this, to be honest with you. He's that sort of horse, it appeals to us, and Darryl rode him yesterday, and he enjoyed it. There's a lot of novelty about this race, and I think that's sort of the sort of thing this horse would enjoy. It is exactly that, but no, we'll have a go. Terrafort, well, he did everything last year. He was good at 2.5, he was good at 3 at Aintree, he was second in Cheltenham, he won the Scilly Isles at Sandown. So he's versatile like that. Clan des Obeaux beat him fair and square at Ascot. And to me that was Clan des Obeaux' best performance, to be honest with you. I thought we had a chance of beating him that day, but we got brushed aside. I think 2.5 probably is a good trip for him, and no, I think it's the right race, and I think Darryl's quite keen on his chances. Well, we had a long weekend with Simon Munir and Isaac and Anthony Bromley, who sort of helps us all along the lines, and we've put sort of, we've got a strong team of horses. It was just a matter of deploying your troops into the sort of, get them in the right places. And we just went back to the long walk at Ascot, which actually was Top-Notch's sort of preparatory race for the season, to be honest with you. He'd been held up earlier along with a reaction to his EHV vaccination, not the flu. The flu doesn't worry him so much, although it certainly put him quiet for him. Again, it didn't help us having to give him a flu jab when we did 4 weeks before this. It did not help us. But he seems in good shape now. But he really enjoyed the long walk. And the first to admit he's not quite a Group 1 horse over fences. You know, he'd be 3rd or 4th in the Ryanair. Or anywhere you put him, because you know he'll run his race and you'll try his socks off. I do think when he's jumping fences, he has to put a lot of energy into jumping. And you use up a lot of energy when you have to try as hard as he does. And consequently, you know, we really sort of said, well, why not? You know, we had put all these horses in every race, purely so we could juggle it around as we needed to. And as you can see, we've juggled Janika and Terrafort and now Top Notch and even Vita. You know, we've juggled them all around and come up with a plan. Whether it's the right plan or not, I don't know, but we have one, and that includes Top Notch in the Stayers Hurdle.
Janika's been very well backed in the Brown Advisory, now 8-1 second favourite with Unibet. Ran very well at Cheltenham. He must have been quite frustrated with that, albeit he ran a good race in second.
Yes, and I think it's the right place to come back to be honest with you. I mean, all we've done is shove him up the weights the whole way through. You could say we haven't played a very clever game if this is what we were after. But we've been trying to win races. He's only had 2 runs and he's been a very good second both times. You know, so you'd be hopeful anyway. They're very difficult to win, these handicaps. So, you know, but I think it's the right place to be.
We haven't seen River Wild since he took that crashing fall at Haydock at the start of the season. It's been a long road back to recovery for him. But how has he been throughout the winter?
Well, River Wild, he's done very well. As you say, that was a horrible fall. That was on Betfair Day when I've got to admit, and everybody knows it was well documented, they built some rather hairy brick walls that day. And he was winning the intermediate chase nicely and fell at the last. He had a horrible fall. He was pretty wounded, and he's done very, very well to get back to where we are. He had a racecourse gallop. His work is good. It certainly hasn't affected him schooling. He's been very sharp. He's not a horse I'd be mad about in a big field. That'll, you know, I think Nick and I both sort of concerned about that because he hasn't got a lot of experience. And as I say, he's only had 1 intermediate chase, and he's got to come in against, you know, really hardened pro handicappers. So, you know, I think if everything went right, he has a great chance. But the race has got to go good for him.
You're mob-handed in the Mayor's Novice, but if we take out your nap of the meeting goes there in Epatante.
Well, I say nap because I'm nervous enough about some of her own. I think she's a good mare. But I mean, Epatante, she's done everything right. She's had 2. We've purposely kept her out of the limelight, out of the smarter races, purely to avoid getting a penalty, which is, you know, this is a grade 2. So you know, the winners of decent races do have to give away weight, and so we've actually kept her out of it on purpose. We have Epatante, we have Lust for Glory, who again is 1-2. She was beaten one day in very heavy ground by Posh Tricks at Newbury, but that was, I think, only the ground. I'd fancy ourselves beating that on good ground. I like her a lot. She should be lovely over fences next year. Elusive Bell was fantastically impressive the first time, and then was just far too keen at Sandown the second time. But hopefully we've ironed that out. And then Daphne de Clos, who I think is getting there. I thought she was a very good filly 2 years ago. She might just want 2.5 miles, but she'll run because at least if she doesn't win, it'll leave her a maiden for the whole of next season, and then she will be even better.
You've got a good record in the Triumph, Nicky. You've got 2 runners this year. Let's start off with 16-1 chance Adjali. Do you feel that's too big a price for him?
I'd have a pound on him at that. I wouldn't, because I think Sir Eric is probably one of the bankers of the meeting. And therefore, you know, it's a place bet, if you like, or an each way. I think he's a good price if you go back to the finale at Chepstow, where there was nothing between him and Kel Desta. Um, we were second, but there was nothing in it, and I'd certainly be happy taking that on again. See what happens. He then just had a bit of he didn't run so well at Cheltenham, but to be honest with you, since then I've been very, very happy with him. His work, he went to Kempton with that team that went there, worked very well. His work since then's been good. He's sharp, he's well, and there's no doubt he deserves to have a go. And then we have Pentland Hills, slightly ironic, a different sort of preparation in that he's only had one hurdle race in his life. But, and I'd say surprised me, but he was incredibly professional. He's done plenty of flat racing. He wasn't very highly rated on the flat. I think he's rated something like £40 below Sir Eric on flat form. So that gives us quite a lot to find. But he loved his first race over hurdles. He jumped like an old hand. He travelled like a good horse. He won very easily. The second wasn't a mug. I don't know. Look, he probably hasn't done enough to say he's got a chance of this. But to be fair, he belongs to a big syndicate, lots of members. They, a great opportunity for them to be able to go and have a run here. Would I think, we saw him work this morning. He's in good form, and look, he's almost certainly going to run anyway.
And from this year's juveniles to last year's juvenile, top juvenile, we have a dream. Going to run in the county hurdle.
That's the plan now. Again, we're jiggling around. We were going to go champion hurdle, but then you have to say he's not going to win that. Second season, 4-year-olds, well, they always have a difficult time. He's going to have a lot of weight in the county. He won that Moor Battle hurdle at Kelso the other day, a race we've used a lot just to try and help some of these horses just get their confidence back. And I have reason to hope, Darryl was just saying this morning, he felt that's the best he's been. And so I hope he's right.
You had lots of options for Birchdale and the Supring and the Ballymore, but you've opted to go for the Albert Bartlett. And how confident are you that you've made the right decision?
Well, you'd never be confident and you'd never be sure you're right. I mean, I certainly could have gone Ballymore, but Champ is JP's as well. So there was little point in them. I mean, to be fair, we also do have Dicky Diver in there and Downtown Getaway. Now, Dicky Diver is JP's as well as Birchdale. So it's very possible that, that those two will take each other on. But I was really trying to say if Champ... I don't say Champ's got the Ballymore covered, but if he's going to be the one there, we can afford to move Birchdale up. He's not a slow horse. And I'm not sure it's right, but it's the way we're going to go. And Dicky Diver, I would think he'd love the 3 miles, as long as there's a nice cut in the ground. And Downtown Getaway, he won at Ascot the last time. Didn't jump as well as I thought he should have done. But you saw him school this morning, and he's in good form, and he won't be far behind them either. Well, he might be far in front of them as well. Well, we don't know if we've got him back to his best, but we're hopeful. We think we're sort of getting somewhere near it. Kempton was disappointing. He never got into his rhythm and his flow, and anyway, we've done a few things, nothing very drastic. We've tinkered with his cauterizing his palate. We've medicated him for some ulcers, little bits and pieces. We think we've got him in good shape, actually. His work's been good. He went to Newbury on Sunday morning. That was good. He jumped 10 fences. He looked in good form. I think if he could just he needs to bowl and bowl. And I mean, and Nico knows, he wants to let him bowl. Maybe 3 1/4 is, maybe he might just want a shorter trip for all we know. But I think he's going to, we're going to go down this route, although we've, did even think of maybe he ought to drop back into the Ryanair. He's giving us the right signs that he's enjoying himself again. And if that's the case, then he's got a very good chance. It's an open race. You've got your old mates in there, Thistlecracks and Diamond River. You've got the Irish coming in their numbers. Percy and all of them. It's I think it's a very open Gold Cup. So I don't see why we shouldn't be in the. He's entitled to be in there, and he's entitled to be in the Shake Up.
And do you think that the better ground will help him as well?
Oh, undoubtedly. He loves really good ground. And I mean, to be fair, they had a lovely strip of unused ground for the Gold Cup last year. He stayed on that. He was on ground that hadn't been used for a year. So I can't really blame the ground entirely for what happened, except for the ground after the last fence. That was horrible. You jump the last, and then you go into a quagmire. And I think that's where he landed upsides, and then all of a sudden he's 2 lengths down. And I think it was purely because he striding along, and suddenly his feet were leaden because he couldn't get out of it. But listen, we hope it will be better ground, and yeah, we're at least we come in this time under less pressure anyway.
A race you obviously dearly like to win again is the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual. You've got 2 runners this year. Val, who loves it round there, and the improving What's Wrong With You?
I think Val does. He's been placed in it before. Probably prefers a little bit extra, but he loves the place, and he's a standing dish there. He's got to appear anyway. With What's Wrong With You, quite aptly named. He's had a few issues in life, but having said that, this has been the plan the whole way through. And I had the last week before qualifications, if you like, he had to have his 3rd run, and he had to get the right weight. We had to go up. I made a bit of I got the right race because we won at Fontwell, and it was a good performance. So that got his 3rd run in. He had to win to go up. Actually, I wanted to go up 5 to get in. He did it too well and went up 10, which I think handicapper knew exactly what I was trying to do. But sort of rather gave him an almighty thump, to be honest with you. But having said that, he's in soft ground he loves, so if he wants to get wet on that day, at least I've got something that'll light the ground. Val will hate it if it gets soft, but there you go. I've got one for all weathers, so we'll give it a try.
It's not really Pim's weather, but what about going out with some Pims in the Martin Pipe?
Pim, he might well run in that. We haven't really made our mind up yet. We've got a whole stack of them in there. Stal de Garde, he'll probably run in it. Pim might well run in it. I mean, we have got several options in there. But we'd like to try and win that.